It's so good to be back here. I'm Deanna Munoz, and I am the strategic director at Latinx Education Collaborative, but also the founder of Chicano Center for the Arts. And I'm so excited to be here with you today, and very, very excited about our special guest today, Mara.
Yes. Hi, Diana. Thank you so much. And hello, everyone. Good
Thank
afternoon.
you. Thank you so much for being here with us today. We are so excited. I just want to tell you your story, your who you are is so inspirational. I am impacted by all the amazing work you have done. So I just want to give a huge congratulations and just a heartfelt thank you for taking the time here to talk with our LEC community.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. And first of all, I'm excited. I feel the same way about you. So I'm very excited to be here speaking with you about my personal narrative and just my experiences as an educator. And also a huge shout out and thank you to the LEC community for allowing me to share part of my personal narrative with your network as well. So, but thank you because I also feel the same about you. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, with that, let's learn so much about you. Tell us who you are, a little bit about your journey. Let's get started.
Okay, so a little bit about me. I'm in Houston, and that is currently home, but I was born in Mexico, and I grew up in Kansas City for most of my life, so very familiar with the area. I'm also a Latina, very proud of that. I know that we share some of that personal narrative as well. I am a mother. I have a 8-year-old daughter. Her name is Luna, and I am a 1.5 generation immigrant, which means that I moved to the U.S. when I was very young and actually grew up undocumented most of my life. So those experiences really carry who I am and how I show up in all the spaces that I have the opportunity to be part of. I am a former classroom teacher, and so I'm no longer in the classroom, but still get to work directly within the ecosystem of education with families, students, and also educators, and it's extremely rewarding. Outside of my professional capacity as well, I have the opportunity to do some advocacy work in areas that I'm really passionate about, such as Latino success and teachers, students, and also the immigrant community, which I mentioned is really part of my personal narrative and story. There we go.
Always live. So with that, every educator has a moment that maybe lit a fire in them, really brought out some passion in regards to the work that they do. Was there anyone in your life, a teacher, a mentor, friend, family member, that really inspired you to really, start this journey into education and just supporting educators in that way?
Yes. So I'll start by saying that I have this passion for learning, whether it's a new skill or specific content. That is something that I've always had, and also a passion for teaching through the classroom when I was a classroom teacher, and now as like through mentorship opportunities. So that was sort of the easy part of becoming a teacher, but it was never my intention. I didn't think that I was going to be a teacher. And I went into school actually I wanted to be a news reporter. So journalism was my first career choice. I didn't think that I was going to be an educator. But while I was in college, I was working in after school tutoring. And so I think that made me wonder whether I'd like to be a teacher or not. But it wasn't until my sophomore year of college. So I was in a math class out of all places. And I was getting ready. It was the first day of school. It was, my sophomore year in college, the first day of school. And the professor walked in. And that was, he was a Latino educator. And that like really impacted me. I was 18, 19 years old at that time. And I remember seeing this man walk in and just recognizing that he was a Latino educator and just feeling like super proud in that moment. and also very overwhelmed, I think. And I remember looking around. So I went to University of Houston, which is a very diverse school campus in the first place. And there were other students who looked like me. And I remember looking around and wondering if other people were feeling what I was feeling, which I think in the moment I was very proud to be able to see this individual who looked like me be this college professor, and also feeling like, wow, what a missed opportunity, right? Like this, I recognize that that was the first time in my educational experience in the US where I had a Latino teacher. I'd never had a Latino teacher in the US before. And I think that like that moment really resonated with me. Um, and it clicked there. I was like, what if I would have had individuals who looked like me throughout my educational experience? Um, and there's more to that story, I feel like, but I won't share all the things because I think that's a whole nother conversation. But that whole year, it was, I'd moved from Kansas City to Houston, and I was going through like this moment of rediscovering my Latinidad. So I'd grown up 30 minutes away from Kansas City, and I'd gone to school where I was like one of the very few Latinas in my school. And I'd come to this new city where there were professors who looked like me and individuals in leadership positions and politicians who looked like me. And, throughout my life, I'd lived this like bicultural world where at home I was like, we're speaking Spanish, we're watching the novelas, we're uh, buying phone cards to call home. And then at school, like I wasn't that, right? Like I spoke English and didn't even I was undocumented, and that was not something that I spoke about. And I think in that time in my life at 18 and 19, I was like really in this process of like rediscovering and owning who I was as a Latina. And here comes this professor who looks just like me. And I'm like, that like something just really impacted me that day. And actually, so much that by the end of that quarter, I had decided that I was going to be a teacher. And I was like, I'm changing my major, I'm going to become a teacher. And I did. And I really tried to live up to just um, to be that person that I didn't have when I was a student, right? I wondered about my other classmates that were also Latino, like would our experiences in the education sector would have been like if we would have had people that looked like us along the way. And also my parents, like what would my parents' involvement in school and engagement, what would that have looked like if they would have had people who they could have communicated throughout the fellowship, throughout the experience. And so that's what I did. I became a teacher and I loved every minute of it. There were so many incredible moments and also some challenges along the way, but I enjoyed every moment of it.
And I think that is so phenomenal, and that is such a story that I've heard so many times over in
Yes.
different ways, and I think it is so important, and that's why these lives are so important. It's just that because when you hear that, you're like, I'm not alone, right? Because you can feel like the world you live in is so small, and this is it. In reality, it is such a huge world, and you are a part of a community, right? Whether you feel like you're it or not, it's just finding that community, right? And so I hope when people see this and they hear your amazing story, that there's community here, right? That there's someone else out there like them, looks like them, and is feeling the same way, and maybe on that same trajectory of wanting to support and help students as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. That is such a true statement. And, I share this, but I have the privilege of working with many educators now. And when I hear their stories, our stories are different, but also similar in many ways. And so it's like, how do we all work together to ensure that other students don't feel that way, right? Like they don't get to college, they don't get to be 18 and 19 years old in college in another space for them to feel like this is the first time in my life where I feel seen and valued
Mhm.
and represented and like I fit in somewhere.
Yeah,
That's
I
really
agree 100%. With the work that you do, what is the most rewarding part of it? I mean, can you share a moment maybe in the classroom or outside of the classroom that made you feel like this is it? This is why I do this.
Yeah, so I don't work directly in the classroom anymore. I now work in a nonprofit space and have the opportunity to work with many educators and families. And I think um, what has been the most rewarding thing about my professional trajectory is when I was in the classroom, I had the opportunity to make a direct impact with students, and I truly loved that work. That work has continues to shape and fuel my passion for the work that I continue to do today. Now that I am not in the classroom, I get to work with education leaders. And I think the most rewarding part of that is, and when I say education leaders, I also mean, I mean community members, teachers, people who work directly within the education ecosystem, and also parents. And so I
Mhm.
think that is the most rewarding thing about my role is that I have had the opportunity to see and connect with stakeholders that have the opportunity to impact the kids that I used to teach in the classroom. And in my, I think my most rewarding role is being able to see individuals who are like-minded and who are passionate about creating and working towards opportunities that impact students in very positive way, Latino students in particular. So I work for a Latino organization that, similar to the Latinx Education
Cool.
Collaborative, is focused on championing outcomes for positive outcomes for students. And so I love that work.
Sorry, I got ahead. Is there anything within the not-for-profit that you're working with right now that's coming up or you're excited about that might be coming up for this year or even in the future?
And within my current nonprofit work,
Yes.
yeah, some of the things that I'm really excited about. So I have the privilege to oversee the fellowship experience within the organization here in the Houston region. And so through that work, we have group of families that we get to work with. And I think that is one of the most rewarding works and things that I look forward to every single year. So, one of the things that we do is that we work with families to ensure that they are um, stakeholders, real stakeholders in their child's education. So a lot of the times, the families that we work with, they are newcomer families, and their experience within the American education system is sometimes limited. And one of the really powerful things to be able to see is the transformation of Latino families when they have the tools, the knowledge, and the resources to be able to make impactful changes in their child's education. So I get to work with over 60 families every single year, and together they are able to champion some really exciting work within the education school district in which their children attend. And here in the Houston area, is we've worked really closely with the Houston Independent School District, which is the eighth largest district in the nation, and it is the largest district in Texas. And over 67% of the student body are Latino. So it's a huge impact on our community. And I love to be able to see the transformation from parents who joined the program at the very beginning of the program and like, well, I'm just a parent, and I just want to learn more about my child and how I can support my child, and then seeing their transformation at the end of the fellowship, and for them to say, actually, I'm a parent, but I'm also like a fierce advocate for not just my child's education, but for all the children within our community. And that is work that I get to do. So we run a couple of fellowships for our parents throughout the year, and that is my absolute favorite because I think it takes me back to my experience when I saw my parents navigating the education ecosystem. And it still allows me to feel connected to the students and the experiences and challenges that the students face. And so it keeps me grounded in the work, even though I'm no longer in the classroom.
I'm gonna have to tell you that that is the most important role anyone can have is the work that you do because the advocacy, training, just connection, just knowing that there's somebody out there who cares enough to want to support parents in that way is it's so priceless because I'm that parent as well. I had three currently two currently in college, one that actually graduated. I did not graduate from college. My parents did not either. And, you know, it's just those things you don't know what you don't know. And you can't support unless you know what to do. And I was in that role of, I don't know what to do. And the community really supported us and programming like the LEC, you know, mentors within that. So I just give so much kudos to you and your organization because I feel like there's not enough of that, at least in Kansas City. And we need more of it because the parents out here are they're finding it amongst themselves, but it shouldn't be this hard. And not in 2025. You know, we should be able to support them as they need.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I agree. I think I like to believe that every parent wants the best for their children, right? But sometimes, like you mentioned, you don't know
Yeah.
what that means, right? Like when we all say, well, we want our kids to have a good education, like what does that actually mean? And I think it's difficult to make decisions that impact your child if you don't really know what you should be looking for. And so I do agree that some of the work that we do and the work that you all do as well with families and students is so essential for our community. And just even speaking from myself, I'm also a parent, and I find it challenging too. Like I see how if you even if you know the language, which is one of the biggest barriers that our families face, like if you know the language, if you've been part of the education ecosystem, it's still very challenging to be able to navigate it. And so you have to be really intentional about what it is that you're trying to accomplish and knowing who you need to speak to. But it's not an easy thing, and I believe that parents are the biggest champions, right, in their child's education. So I always share with parents like the teacher might have the doctorate or the master's in education, but you have the doctorate in your child's life, and so there's no one better than parents to be able to champion students in the classroom.
I absolutely love that saying. That is absolutely so powerful that moment. I mean, giving a lot of power to the parents who sometimes don't feel like they have that. And you're so right. They do have that. So, with all of that, what advice would you give to a student or just a young person, you know, who is just trying to find their way, whether that be a high school student or a current college student? What advice would you give them? And it doesn't matter what field they're in, what education or you know, art, whatever. You know, what would be your best advice?
My best advice for the youth and the Latino youth in particular, which obviously a lot of the work that I do is centered around my community and individuals who look like me, and that's what I'm very passionate about. My biggest advice would be to remember that these students are not just the future of our nation, but they are the now. And they're beyond capable of accomplishing their goals and aspirations. And we need them. We need them to be educated. We need them to choose education, whatever career path right they choose, but I think they need to consider um, being able to go to college and get an education. I think education opens doors. And so, whatever it is that they choose to do in their future, they should take that very serious. So, if they're in high school right now, um, understanding that education will open doors and provide them spaces and seats at tables. And ultimately, their voice is going to be essential because they are the future leaders of our country, and we need their voices now more than ever. We need them to take up space in places and spaces. And I truly believe that they are beyond capable, from someone that's been in the classroom and has been able to hear from the youth and see students and hear about their ideas and their hearts and compassion. I think, we are, our future is in the right hands, and we just need them to go to college and find communities that support their future. And there are places like the LEC and my organization as well, the Latinos for Education, that are championing the youth and are cheering for them so that they can succeed.
That's wonderful. I love it. So, for you personally and professionally, what are some goals that you have, whether it's tomorrow, 5 months from now, 5 years from now? What are some goals that you are aspiring to?
My goodness, that's a good question. I would say I want to continue to do work that impacts my community. I don't necessarily think of a role in mind. I just want to make sure that whatever I continue to do is intentional and centered and grounded on the people that have always inspired me to do the work, and that is, I think, the Latino youth. I think that's where my heart is the most happy. Whatever it is that I'm doing, I want to make sure that I go back and say, but is this really impacting the future of our country? And I do believe that Latino students and Latino youth are the future of our country, the fastest growing demographic, already the second largest demographic in K through 12 schools, right? And so I want to make sure that our youth is set up for success, and that whatever I can do in my capacity to elevate the voices of our community and our students, and in any capacity that I can to push for policies and practices that support our students and our youth. That's what I want to do. And I'm not 100% sure uh, about a role, but I just want to continue to do the work in the community and work alongside all the stakeholders that are doing that same work.
That is wonderful. And we're here to support you. So, anything you might need or please let us know. We're here for you. We just are super excited that you were here with us today. You got to share your story. We truly appreciate everything you do and all the work you do. And we're excited for everything that's coming up. Myra, thank you again for being with us at Latinx Education Collaborative.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the wonderful conversation.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone at LEC. We'll see you again soon.
Bye bye.